So we can definitely start it off with Chris Hamilton, Stony Brook baseball player who just graduated this season. Chris, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on tonight.
Hey Chris, before we go any further, did you get a look at the triple play today?
Yeah, that was crazy. Third time this season, you don't see that often.
No, you
Only
don't.
12
Matter of fact,
teams in MLB
ties the
history.
record apparently.
Wow, yeah, that's unbelievable. That's one way to end the game too. There was first and second, no outs, starting something, and then that happens. That's crazy.
Well, for a guy of your defensive prowess, have you ever been a part of a triple play before?
I have not before. Nope.
Well, that's luckily enough. As far as you being at bat, but I'm sure you would like to see on the other side when it comes to being out on the field.
Yeah, no, that would be pretty cool to be a part of it on the field rather than being on the offensive side of it.
Yeah, that's got to be humiliating, especially as the hitter. But why don't we get to the real questions? So I want to start off with this. All right, I want to address the biggest elephant in the room. So you guys are facing NJIT. It's the postseason tournament. You're at home, bottom of the third inning. You're up 1-0. John LaRocca just stole home. Bases are loaded. You've drawn 3 straight walks, and you're on deck. The skies open up even harder. NJIT's coach comes out. Game goes into rain delay, and you never get that final at-bat. So how exactly have you coped with that? How have you handled the loss? Well, if you want to even call it that, how did that situation go down to you? What were you feeling?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a lot of emotions flowing. We actually played the game the day before against Maine, and it was kind of similar weather. A little bit of rain, nothing you couldn't play in, and then we just had a feeling that once that happened, that something fishy was going to end up happening, with them in the winner's bracket, and it was tough. And then coach said the game was canceled, and then we knew there was rain all day tomorrow. So, there was a lot of questions going through all our heads. The coaches talking to us, but no, it was tough, and definitely not getting that last at bat is still a little sour.
Chris, you're part of the
Sure.
You're part of a unique group, Chris, that you got the extra year of eligibility thanks to COVID and the season that was cut short last year. So, and we talked to Ali Candy about this last week as well. You come back for another year, and you have your sights set very, very high. Got to the tournament in 2019, want to get back there this year, and maybe even go a little further, go a little deeper. But then not only is the tournament cut short, but your opportunity to get to the NCAA is eliminated through no fault of your own. That's got to be incredibly frustrating.
Definitely, yeah. Very, very disappointing. We were very lucky that the NCAA granted all us seniors an extra year of eligibility. Excited, working hard, getting to know the new guys in the fall. Of course, coming to Stony Brook from day one, your goal is you're going to compete for championships. So we wanted those guys that have never experienced that championship feeling before to experience it. And, it was tough. It's still pretty fresh in the mind. It's going to be tough to get over, but coming back and trying to get to the postseason with those guys and have them experience a regional opportunity, and the way it ended was, it was pretty terrible.
Now, I want to ask you this.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, there were some rumors. None of us were there, but you were. So what happened on that Sunday morning? Allegedly, NJIT didn't even show up to the field. And there is a pretty telling picture of an empty dugout on the third base side. Was there bus in the parking lot, or are the rumors true? Did they not even leave their hotel?
Yeah, we got down. We actually hid inside before because we knew there was some rain, and then we just got down to the field around 9:15, I believe. The game was set for 10:15 at that point, and I know the grounds crew was working on everything, and I'm not sure exactly where they were. They definitely never came down to the field. I'm not sure where they were, but we were kind of just sitting tight, hoping to get out there and get ready, and just coach had a few meetings, and he came down, and just the look on his face just didn't look too promising, and that's when kind of the emotion started flowing, and everyone was starting to realize that the season was going to be cut short.
We know there were definitely a lot of emotions like that, and really the fact that you were the top seed in the America East tournament and Joe Nathan Field hosting the conference tournament for the first time since 2012. You figured that what we noticed that one of the problems that the NCAA and the America East may not have been able to let the America East Conference tournament continue is because of the absence of the lights at Joe Nathan Field. But we know that that's definitely going to be something that they'll be working on. Just, do you think that with stuff like that could have been added a few years ago, do you think that could have probably helped the America East tournament finish in its full length?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a great addition to Joe Nathan Field. But, they knew everything that was happening. The America East knew where the site was. We usually start the conference tournament on a Wednesday. It was a Thursday, I believe, this year. They knew the weather forecast. So I don't think you can really blame it on, the America East not knowing we didn't have lights. I mean, they knew that. So I feel like everything was just there was no contingency plan for all this, and unfortunately it just didn't work out.
Okay, Matt, did you have a question or no?
Well, one thing that I do know about Coach Senk and his staff is that they feel for you guys right along with you, and I can only imagine the disappointment that they were feeling right along with you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we're all very close with our coaches, and they tell us all the time we're just setting you guys up to be successful, and they put us in the best position that they can for us to succeed, either that's on the field or off the field. And yeah, no, they were definitely disappointed. I mean, I can't really speak for how they really felt, but they really were disappointed for us.
Absolutely. Well, I remember for us, we were live recapping the weekend. Yeah. And I remember it was so rainy that Zach couldn't even go to Joe Nathan Field. We don't have the equipment. And for it to be shut down like that was not only outrageous, but while we were kind of laying our frustrations there, the America East released a statement during the show where they kind of had their reasonings and their quote-unquote explanation. I'm sure you read it, what Amy Hutchinson, now former America East commissioner, said. What were your thoughts on that and her, response to the situation?
I didn't fully read it, but I mean, I did see something was out there. I know it got deleted, I think, at one point, but I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing, honestly, so I can't really comment on that.
But again, this is something where I really don't even think it's a coincidence too, where not that it played a big factor, but look, we're 3 weeks out and we're going to have a new America East commissioner at the start of next year. I mean, again, just the response was unbelievable. And this too against an NGIT team, Chris, where it really was becoming that highlight rivalry of the America East. Would you agree? Even though this is NGIT's first year in the America East, there were really a lot of chippy games, especially in the final series you two teams played on, especially that final day.
Yeah, no, definitely. Their first year in the conference, and I mean, they're a hard-nosed team. We're a hard-nosed team, so we were going to go out there and compete. But I could sense a little bit of a rivalry, starting up there. So that I would say that there's probably a pretty good rivalry between us now.
Yeah, again, it was just so chippy, those games. What was it really against them? Because compared to other teams, I felt Stony Brook was a lot more reserved. But, both dugouts were going at it. I remember that Sunday game where it was just both teams were going at it. What about them, or what about you, really brings out, I guess, those feelings toward each other? Is it that competitive nature?
Yeah, I could definitely see it being the competitive side of kids. I mean, we're out there competing all the time, but I mean, coaches always tell us to go out there and be classy and be a classy program. We're really not a team that's going to go out there and, look like a bunch of fools and mouth off. But, our coach says, be classy and let your playing do the talking. So that's how we go about business. I mean, there's some teams out there who, of course, are chippy and chirpy, and, we don't want to really get involved with that too much. But when it comes to a point where, your emotions are flowing and it's during the game, I mean, I could see that competitive nature really showing out.
I was on one of those broadcasts, and I had to warn people that, because we're directly behind the plate, as you know, and we have a microphone right there. So we had no control over what was being said in those dugouts, but we couldn't bleep it out. So if you're in sensitive ears, we apologize in advance. But that's what it was like when we were broadcasting the games.
Now, you had a 5-year career, so I guess there would be a lot to pick from. You got a lot of time to choose from this. But being that NJIT is now probably Stony Brook's biggest rival, who would you say your biggest rival was during your time here? Was it NJIT? Like, who was the most fierce competition that you played? When did it get the chippiest, the most heated? Who was that against in your 5 years here?
I would say UMass Lowell.
UMass Lowell. And exactly how was that? How was it different from the NJIT series? Because, from what we saw this year, I mean, even when you guys were facing off just in that one lone playoff game, between every single pitch, there was a lot of trash talk. I mean, the parents on both sides were getting into it. I remember Albert Choi making a throwing error, and a Stony Brook dad was screaming, "Oh yeah, what is that? A little league throw? Nice arm, stupid!" Just there was a whole bunch of trash talk on both sides of the field. So how heated did it get when you guys would play UMass Lowell?
Yeah, I would just say UMass Lowell, just because I think it was there for 3 years. I mean, we didn't really play them. We didn't play conference my 4th year when COVID cut it short, but I would say it was just kind of 4 years of competitiveness and at the same level of what NJIT was this year.
Now, with this rivalry, was there any sort of mutual respect, or was it flat out hatred? I mean, do you guys hate NJIT? You have a right to. Do you guys hate NJIT, or is it all competitive spirit?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I hate the team.
No, I know it's a strong word, but you know what I mean.
We're not very fond of that team. I mean, just the thing that they pulled on us, and everything was just seemed to be set up. It just kind of doesn't really sit well. Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we shift gears to a more positive note? I don't want to keep bringing up the rain out and the NJ.
Yeah. Stuff. Well, I mean, I just want to say also another thing. Yeah. I mean, talk a little more about the America East tournament from a positive side. After the Seawolves lost day 1 against the Maine Black Bears against a really tough pitcher for Maine and Sinicola, down by 2 in the bottom of the 9th to UAlbany with your season on the line, your team initiated a big-time comeback by hitting 3 straight runs, and after that, being able to go on an explosive offensive performance against Maine. After suffering what seems like an upset against the Black Bears in day 1, how did your team begin to rebound by hitting those wins when your season was on the line?
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of the team we were all year. We had a lot of comeback wins this year. I think it just speaks for the group that we kind of were. We're just a team that wouldn't really we would play a game. I think there was a lot of series this year where we would go out game 1 and we'd lose, and then game 2 we would just flush it quick and then regroup and set our focus on the next game. And I think that just speaks to who we are as a team, and just being able to flush a game like that and just having clutch hitters in that moment against the Albany team. And then I think it's just what we did all year and kind of who we were.
All right. So on that note, I'm just curious. It's been about a month now, maybe a little over, since that whole, debacle with the rain out and whatnot. But what have you been up to since then? I mean, is there baseball on the horizon?
Yeah. I kind of just been, after a few weeks, after 2 weeks, it was still pretty tough to get my mind right. But I've been, honestly, I'm down in Florida right now, hanging out with my parents and just kind of relaxing, working out, hitting, trying to stay in shape, see what happens with the draft in a few weeks, and kind of just go from there.
I just said that there are some summer collegiate baseball leagues going on this summer. Are you a part of that or not?
No, I'm not a part of any team right now.
And I understand that you did something last year or the year before, and it was up in Albany, I believe it was, or am I mistaken that with another Seawolf?
Yes, that was me. That was over the last summer. I was up in Albany playing.
All right, so now let's shift to your whole career, because I mean, you had a long one and you had a very successful one. So you hit just about 300, 296 in your 5 years with Stony Brook. So what was that like? I mean, how awesome, how proud of yourself are you, knowing that now you can look back on yourself and say, wow, I had a great career at one of the highest levels possible?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I mean, being around Coach Sank, Coach Martin, Kyle Lombardo, Coach Kavanaugh, those are all good coaches that are going to put you in the best situation to be successful. And just being around a great group of guys every single year, you talk about a brotherhood at Stony Brook, and just being able to go out and play your game and learn from each player and learn from the coaches and being coachable, I think is a big thing that helped me, and kind of just going about my business the right way and just trying to be a good teammate in the end. And, it was a great career at Stony Brook, and I wouldn't want to change it any other way.
Yeah, and you brought up Coach Sank as well. Could you kind of describe your relationship with him, kind of how it grew from the first couple times you met him to kind of how it ended, where obviously there's so much respect there between the two of you?
Yeah, no, Coach Sank, can't say enough about him. Great guy, great coach. He, if I were to say one thing about him, I think it would be really he makes you men throughout your time there at Stony Brook. He always says baseball is going to come to an end at some point, and I think he really puts you in a great position to be successful after school.
So what do you think Matt Sank did personally to get the best out of you? Because, every athlete's favorite coach got the best out of them, got them to perform at their best. Well, you can't really perform much better than you did these past 5 years. So what exactly did Matt Sank do to get the best out of Chris Hamilton?
I think just from day one, even meeting Coach Sank when I was getting recruited, I just felt like we had a great relationship. I just think we were very personable with each other, could talk about anything. I think he believed in me a lot. And then obviously towards the end of my career, I was starting to become more of a leader. And I mean, I think that he has enough trust in me to be a leader of the team. And I don't know, I think we were just got along great right from the start. And I think that really helped not even our relationship, but how other players can also be personable with their coaches as well.
And your experience at Stony Brook has helped you and your team go to the NCAA tournament back in 2019. How do you believe that that experience playing against really tough teams, of course, you did against LSU and Arizona, despite those hard losses to them in the regionals. How do you believe the experience of playing top-notch teams like that will prepare you should you eventually find your way into Major League Baseball?
Yeah, I think we go on a lot of fun trips at Stony Brook. Even preseason, went to a lot of cool places over the past 5 years, and playing the best competition that you can at that level will set you up to be successful at the next level. But yeah, coming to Stony Brook, you're going to compete for a championship and have a chance to go to a regional and play in front of a big crowd, in front of historic teams, and going to LSU was definitely one of my favorite experiences, being at Stony Brook.
So I want to ask you this too, because we shouldn't even bother being bashful. I mean, yes, you're a great hitter, 296 career average. You were top 10 in home runs, RBIs, doubles, walks, but you're also a stellar first baseman. You're as good a defender as I've ever seen, as any of us have ever seen. You're irreplaceable over there at first base, okay, as you were at the plate. Now, which do you prioritize more, or which do you take more pride in? Is it your offense or your defense?
Well, I appreciate those words. I would say my offense. I worked on my offense the most throughout my 5 years at Stony Brook. I moved to being a first baseman my sophomore year. It was really tough. It was rough in the beginning.
Yeah, it's not easy learning how to scoop. I was a first baseman in high school. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, no, it's not easy. But, just from going upstairs in the hitting facility and putting the machine on, working on picks like that. And I think my offense was the biggest pride, but I worked hard defensively, just working with the guys, getting to know everyone and how they play, and just expecting anything over at first base. But I did take a lot of pride in my scooping over there too.
Of course. Well, that's always the most fun,
Yeah,
that always makes you look the best.
Yeah, was that something where, especially when you're starting, especially you got to grasp and really say, yeah, I'm going to really continue pursuing baseball. Did you find your home at first base instantly? Because I know you're an outfielder as well. Or did you kind of work around and found out first base was your best fit?
Yeah, I kind of just went with the flow. Sophomore year, kind of needed a first baseman. Coach asked me if I've ever played there. I said, yeah, back in Little League. I don't know how well I'm going to do right now. But, yeah, just the transition was all right. I was kind of the guy, whatever the team needed, I was there to help. And if I needed to play first base and learn first base, and that would make us successful, then I'm all in for it.
I was going to say, too, looking at the numbers, I think it's a bit more than all right. I mean, nearly flawless is how I describe it. I mean, kind of looking back at the numbers, I think I only recall maybe one time there was an error that you committed at first base. I mean, it was incredible, especially seeing those interior defenders you played alongside over the past couple of years. Obviously, Stan Luther immediately coming to mind, Ivan Giordano at third. It's like those guys can throw it hard and from anywhere, and they are not easy passes to catch, and you do it almost on instinct. How were you able to build those, I guess, relationships with those infielders, as well as really manage those sort of mastering the art of the tough catching?
Yeah, just kind of getting to know your guys throughout practice every day, and getting to know what they're like. And not every throw is going to be great, so you got to expect a bad one, is what coaches tell us. And I don't know. I just think getting to know the guys, how they play, everything like that, really just helped me become a better defender as well.
Who are some of your favorite teammates over the last 5 seasons?
Oh, man. No, that's a tough question.
No, a lot of them may be listening right now.
Yeah. Geez, I can't really pick from everyone. I love everyone. People come to mind, Bobby Honeyman, Dylan Rask, Mike Wilson, Nick Grande, John Tuccillo. There's just so many. Evan Giordano, Johnny Decker. There's so many. I can't even describe them all. I can't even list them all.
And when you list those guys, to me, the first thing that pops in my mind are leaders. And it kind of goes back to what you said earlier, especially about Matt Sank. But really, no, that's how you describe a lot of players, especially on the Stony Brook baseball team. What is it, I guess, about this team where it kind of brings out those sort of qualities out of, these players? What is it that really helps guys succeed when they come and play for Stony Brook baseball?
Yeah, it's kind of what I was talking about with Coach Sank and how, from day one, he really gets on you about getting better, being a baseball player. He wants you doing the best in the classroom. He believes in if you take care of your business off the field, it's going to show on the field. So I think it's just the type of baseball played at Stony Brook, classy baseball, hard work, dedication, buying in, and just thinking that it's a brotherhood playing here. It's an honor to play for Stony Brook and the legacy that Coach Sank built there. And I think that's what really hits home for the guys. And that's kind of what really helped me, is just wanting to be a leader and why I wanted to play for Stony Brook.
So when you were a younger player, a freshman, sophomore, who specifically, was there a specific player who took you under their wing, who, you learned the ways from? Was there anybody who mentored you, so to speak?
Yeah, I think my freshman year, I would probably say Toby Hanley. He was an unbelievable player. He was my roommate when we went away for games. I was obviously in the outfield at that time, so he definitely took me under his wing. And then, going on from there, just kind of, I was just big on following what the leaders really did and trying to be a leader myself. And there's just a lot of guys, but I think from the start, Toby Hanley really set a good example for me.
That's awesome. So, I mean, you kind of already answered this question just talking about how you have outfield origins, but, usually first basemen are, big, lumbering, slow guys. They don't really, play a whole lot of small ball. But you, I mean, being that you have that outfield background, you steal bases, you hit triples, how much of your speed or your base running ability is important to you? What percentage of that wow, how do I even ask this question? This is on the fly. I'm sorry. But how important is your speed to you? Do you think that basically takes you over the top? Because as we said earlier, you're a great defensive first baseman, and you're as good offensively as there is anybody that we've ever seen, right? But you're a first baseman who can run too. So how valuable do you think that makes you?
I think it makes me pretty valuable. Being very versatile is, I think, a good thing that people like to see. And I used to be a soccer player, and now I used to play outfield. Now I'm first base. I just like to stay flexible, especially over there at first base. And I just think staying in shape and being able to run around is also a big part of a game that can make you better.
Yeah, and we shouldn't underscore that soccer statement. I mean, you own the New York State record for the most goals in a single season in high school soccer, 66 in your senior year. Could you kind of describe how you were feeling entering your senior year in high school? And did you know that baseball was going to be what you were set for collegiately, or did you still have playing soccer in the back of your mind going forward?
Yeah, at that point, entering my senior year, I was already committed for baseball, and I was actually on the line of thinking about quitting soccer and not playing and just focusing on baseball that final year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and then, I played soccer my whole life, and obviously my family's a big soccer family. Right. So not wanting to let them down, not wanting to let the teammates down who already, been so far. Just playing with them that final year, that was awesome. And yeah, it was pretty cool.
I was going to say, that's the opposite of letting them down. I mean, that's practically being the one-man show. I mean, it's insane to think about. In what was all likelihood, what would you say, maybe a 20-game season, if even that?
Yeah, probably 20, 25 games, I think.
And there you go, averaging about 2-3 goals a game. I mean, that's lacrosse numbers, okay? It's soccer. But no, you bring a great point too with your family, obviously. Your brother, I'm sure Jimmy, played baseball back at Roger Williams University. How was that relationship for you growing up in terms of dictating what sport you wanted to play and just being active all the time with your family?
Yeah, I played my freshman year of high school. My brother was a senior, so I was really amped up to be able to play a year with him. And then he went on to he was actually a walk-on at Roger Williams University and had a really good career there. And, I was always looked up to my brother. He was a pitcher, and he's given me a lot of good advice and, how to be successful and keeping my mind right. So, yeah, being around my family has definitely helped me.
So let's get to this now. So Stony Brook's baseball team obviously had a huge senior class, a very important senior class. I mean, John Tuccillo, the catcher, obviously you over at first base, John LaRocca in center field, and then 3 starting pitchers, Sam Turcotte, Brian Herman, and Jared Milch. So you guys are graduating a lot of, you already graduated a lot of players. That's a lot of voids to fill. Who fills the void at first base? I mean, enlighten us. Is he on the roster yet? Is your heir apparent already there? Or is he coming through the recruiting process? Do you know exactly who's going to step in for you?
I personally don't know. I think there might be a first baseman coming in. I know Shane Paradine has worked over at first base with me a lot, and he would be very comfortable over there. And, he's also a very good catcher. So I'm not really sure what they have in mind, but if they need any tips, I'll be free to help them if they need it.
Who do you see stepping up next season?
Offensively, I see Evan Giordano, Shane Paradine, Stanton, Brett, all those guys who play, Cole, Evan Fox. I think there's a lot of young talent there, and pitching wise, Nick DeGennaro is the guy, and I think with his leadership, he can get guys on the right track and hopefully fill those spots. And I think they'll be just fine, with Coach Saint, Coach Martin, Coach Cav. They know how to do it right. So I'm not too concerned about that.
So yeah, with that as well too, just so many things obviously going on that front. And what is there for you that you're really looking forward to now? Obviously, done with collegiate baseball, but obviously, I'm sure you're anticipating furthering your baseball career.
Yeah, I'm not sure if baseball doesn't work out. I mean, definitely, I would love to get back my knowledge and what I've learned over my career and what I've learned at Stony Brook to give back to younger kids looking to play. And yeah, that's really what I would like to do. Definitely stay in the game of baseball.
So earlier this year, I write for the Stony Brook Statesman. That's the newspaper here, and I got to cover a couple of the baseball games as well as the softball games. I was the softball writer, but I subbed in for a couple of baseball games, and I got to speak to Coach Sank a couple of times, and one particular time we were talking about Stanton Luthner and adjustments he made. Stanton said that he had that Coach Sank had worked with him on a no stride approach, and then Stanton hit 300 for the whole rest of the year. Now, this brings me to this. Was there ever a moment in your career where you were slumping like Stanton Luthner was earlier this year, and Coach worked with you on an adjustment that you stuck with and it really propelled you as a player?
Yeah, I think Coach brings up a lot of points that kids can make adjustments on. Stanton, I mean, Coach was working with him every day and showing him different things and bringing up old newspapers from when back in the 2012 team when they went to the World Series and they worked on no shot approach. And I think, I can't think of a particular time, but I mean, just working with Coach Sank and Coach Martin and their philosophy and really just getting to know and how to be successful and what they believe in. And I think that's just having trust in the coaches. And I think that helps anyone who might be struggling at a certain point.
Do you ever think that it's like overwhelming in a way being around a guy like Matt Sank, a guy with, basically a Hall of Fame pedigree? I mean, the guy's practically a celebrity. He has his own Wikipedia page. Mm-hmm. Do you ever get kind of like, I mean, this is kind of stupid, but do you ever get like choked up around him or anything like that? Like, is there ever a moment where it's like, wow, I'm speaking to the guy? This is the man, the myth, the legend. Do you ever realize that or think that or anything like that?
Yeah, no, obviously he's a historic coach and very well known around college baseball, and the things that he's done has been incredible. But I think as a player, I mean, maybe the first year you kind of just getting to know him and you know him as being that coach. And I think just I wasn't really ever, I never really looked at it like that. I just kind of looked at him as a coach and someone who is very successful in what he does, and, really got a great relationship with him throughout my 5 years. And I'm very grateful for that.
I'll go over a little news item that came out this past couple of days. The Commissioner's Cup, which is a general excellence trophy. It's a combination. The scoring is based on a combination of performance of all the programs at Stony Brook. And, of course, it's a big award for the front office. But I do know that there's plenty of interaction between athletes on different teams. And there has to be a sense of pride across the board, considering how well everybody has performed this year. Men's lacrosse, women's lacrosse, baseball, softball, everybody was good. And that Commissioner's Cup is elusive, too. Stony Brook's always been among the top three, but rarely have they won it. And when you guys heard the news, what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Sean Hilbrun, the AD, does a great job with all the teams. And I think a lot of the teams have a lot of great relationships with each other, and everyone feels comfortable around each other. Everyone's rooting on everyone. And I think that just speaks for the environment around Stony Brook athletics and everyone being there for everyone no matter what. And I think, having that Commissioner Cup 2 years in a row just shows a lot about where Stony Brook is going.
I know that we're getting close to losing you. I know that we're running on borrowed time right now. So let me just ask you this. What was the best moment of your career?
Best moment of my career was the dog pile at Binghamton University when we won in 2019.
What did that feel like?
That was a surreal feeling. That group of guys I talk to most of those guys every single day still, and it was just an unbelievable feeling, just working hard all year long and really setting our goals, coming up short a few years before, and really wanting to put the finishing touches on that. And we believed all year. We were down both games in the championship series there in Binghamton, and just believing in each other, and it was an awesome feeling.
Yep, 1041 here with Chris Hamilton. Chris, before you go, we do want to talk quickly with pros about you. Obviously, an avid player and an avid fan of the MLB. So I think first we start the Yankees, and they're a team where we had a lot of high expectations for, and they've been struggling for a large part of the season. Had a great week this week, though. Just from an athlete's point of view, what is it like being on a team, like, for example, Stony Brook, where maybe you have very high expectations across the board, and for a while you're not really living up to it. How do you, I guess, avoid letting the slow start get to you throughout an entire season?
Yeah, well, I'll start with this. I'm a Red Sox fan.
So you're loving it. You're loving it, especially because so many of us discounted the Red Sox.
Yeah, no, I didn't know what kind of year it was going to be, but yeah, no. Yeah, they're off to a little bit of a slow start. I mean, the Yankees are obviously known to be that team and everything like that, but I think they're a very good team. I think they'll come together and be successful in the end.
I was saying, conversely, the Red Sox were someone who not a lot of folks had at the top of the AL East. They had, the Rays, the Yankees, and so far it's the Red Sox with a half-game lead above Tampa Bay. So what's really impressed you about that team, and who are some of the guys who are really, I guess, really wowing you so far?
Yeah, I love watching Rafael Devers, being a lefty hitter. He's had a tremendous year. Xander Bogaerts, obviously, getting Alex Verdugo in that trade for Mookie Betts there. Wasn't really happy getting rid of Mookie Betts, but he's played very well.
Well, that's what it looks like right now. You can see how successful Betts is with LA.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say, for the Red Sox, too, a lot of great lefty sluggers. So David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, Devers, as you said. I believe Bogaerts.
Manny was righty. Bogaerts was righty.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, Ken.
Sorry about that. But again, was there anyone, maybe a Red Sox in particular, you maybe idolize in terms of your batting and your approach?
My favorite player all time is David Ortiz, but I did love Jacoby Ellsbury. I loved his swing when he was on the Red Sox. I know he didn't help out the Yankees too much.
well, screw the Yankees, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'm a Mets fan. I could care less too. But
all right, perfect. We're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. Good for you.
Yeah, well, back in 2018 when the Mets played the Red Sox, both Mets and Red Sox fans were shouting in the stands, F the Yankees. So, I mean, we tend to come together over that.
I love it.
Well, I can't keep you for long. So I guess the final question would be this. What's on deck for you in terms of your future and obviously just future of baseball in terms of what you really want to accomplish over these next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, just going to be working out and staying in shape here, waiting to see what happens with the draft in the next few weeks. And if baseball doesn't work out with the draft, I really do want to stay in the game of baseball, whether that's being a coach or any way I could help out kids trying to be successful and getting to wherever they want to be and giving back my knowledge. And I think the relationships I've made and everything that Coach Sank has done to put me in a great position and making me a great man. I think we'll see what happens in the future, but definitely staying in the baseball world is my plan.
Might we see you at Joe Nathan Field next year?
I'll be back.
That's awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you there. And of course, you're always welcome to come back here too. So
awesome. All
right. Well, that was Chris Hamilton, and as always, another great guest here on our spotlight section for the sports section. And I mean, we want to talk about lead. Chris Hamilton is one of those guys. I mean, again, all throughout his collegiate career, you could just tell that the future was bright. And once he was an upperclassman, I mean, the sky was the limit. He was absolutely incredible as a Seawolf.